They say I have everything. CEO at 33, a company worth $500 million, a penthouse overlooking the Charles River with floor-to-ceiling windows that frame Boston like a painting I never have time to look at. But nobody knows that the night I almost died, the man who saved my life was the janitor I'd fired 3 hours earlier. His name was Marcus Hayes. And this is the story of how a woman who built empires forgot what it meant to be human until a single father in a blue uniform reminded her. 6 a.m. My alarm didn't wake me because I never slept. Not really. 4 hours, 23 minutes, my Apple Watch informed me, with its cheerful cruelty. 47 unread emails glowed in the darkness of my penthouse bedroom. The city was still painted in shades of gray below me. I watched a father across the street lift his daughter onto his shoulders, both of them laughing at something I couldn't hear through the triple-pane glass. Something twisted in my chest, sharp, brief, immediately suppressed. I had a board meeting in 2 hours, no time for whatever that feeling was. My breakfast was a green smoothie I drank standing up, scrolling through Slack messages from my team. The video call with the board started at 7:15, all 12 faces arranged in neat rectangles on my laptop screen. Sophia. Richard Donnelly, our lead investor, didn't believe in pleasantries. The IPO is 3 months out. Everything depends on closing the Horizon Healthcare deal. $200 million. No room for failure. Understood. Do you? Because hesitation now could cost us everything. This company needs to prove it can scale. Horizon is that proof. I nodded, professional and composed, while my mother's face flickered through my mind. Mom, dying in a county hospital bed because we couldn't afford the surgery that might have saved her. I was 16. I'd built Meditech on that memory, on the promise that money would never again stand between people and the medical care they needed. But building the company meant becoming exactly the kind of person who talked about $200 million deals before breakfast. The call ended. I looked out the window again. The father and daughter were gone. Across the city, in a studio apartment in Dorchester, where the radiator clanked and the ceiling had water stains shaped like continents, Marcus Hayes was making breakfast. Scrambled eggs, toast, and a small orange inhaler that cost $180 a month. Daddy, Emma's voice was soft, still thick with sleep. She sat at their tiny kitchen table, her stuffed rabbit clutched against her chest. Why don't you be a doctor like Sarah's dad? You're smart. Marcus set the plate in front of her, his movements deliberate, practiced in concealing emotion. Daddy does different work now, sweetheart. Helping people have clean places to work is important too. But you could help sick people. For exactly 5 seconds, Marcus let himself remember. The weight of surgical gloves, the precise choreography of the operating room. The moment when a heart he'd repaired began to beat on its own, steady and strong and alive. Then Emma coughed, that wet, rattling sound that meant her asthma was acting up, and the memory dissolved. Take your medicine, Emma Bean. She did, practiced at 7 years old in the routine of breathing treatments and rescue inhalers. While she ate, Marcus looked at the bill on the counter. $540 past due. His paycheck from the janitorial company was $230 short. But Emma was eating. Emma was breathing. That was what mattered. 9 p.m., Meditech Solutions occupied floors 26 through 32 of a glass tower in downtown Boston. By night, most of the building was empty, just the hum of servers and the ghostly blue glow of monitors left running. Marcus pushed his cleaning cart out of the elevator onto the 28th floor. Executive offices. He'd been doing this for 6 months and he knew the routine. Empty the trash bins, vacuum the carpets, wipe down the glass conference tables that never seemed to get dirty. He was nobody here. Invisible. That was the point. Through the glass walls of the corner office, he saw her. Sophia Chen sat at her desk, laptop open, phone pressed between her shoulder and ear. Even at 9 p.m., she was impeccable. Tailored suit, hair pulled back, posture perfect. She was talking to someone about market projections, her voice clipped and precise. Marcus had seen her before, of course. Everyone in the building knew who she was. The CEO who'd built a healthcare tech empire before she turned 35. The woman whose face appeared on magazine covers with headlines like "The Future of Medicine" and "How One Immigrant's Daughter Disrupted Healthcare." He kept his head down and started emptying the wastebaskets in the cubicles. That's when his cart hit the edge of the conference table. The bucket tipped. Water, soapy, dirty water, cascaded across the glass surface and onto the floor. Onto the papers spread across the table. Onto the contracts with Horizon Healthcare's logo, watermarked across every page. "What are you doing?" Sophia's voice cut through the quiet like a blade. She was already moving, phone abandoned, grabbing papers from the spreading puddle. "I'm so sorry, Marcus grabbed towels from his cart, trying to blot the water, but Sophia snatched the documents away. "These are contracts worth $200 million. Do you understand that? Do you have any idea?" She stopped herself, took a breath. When she spoke again, her voice was colder, more controlled, somehow worse. "Just go. Get out." Marcus backed away, leaving the mess half cleaned. In the hallway, his phone buzzed. A text from Emma's school nurse. Emma had trouble breathing during after-school care. "Please call." His fingers felt numb as he dialed, the phone slipping twice before he got a grip. 10 minutes later, his phone buzzed again. A different number. The building management company. "Mr. Hayes, we're terminating your contract effective immediately. Ms. Chen requested your removal from the premises." The message was still on his screen when his phone rang a third time. "Mr. Hayes, this is Boston Children's Hospital. Your daughter's in our emergency room. She's stable, but you should come now." Marcus ran. 12:47 a.m. Sophia was still in her office, alone on the 28th floor. The cleaning crew had been and gone. A different crew, she assumed. Someone had left a note apologizing for the disruption earlier. She didn't think about it. She was thinking about Horizon Healthcare, about the board meeting tomorrow, about the 17 revisions to the contract still glowing on her laptop screen. Then her chest tightened. Just stress, she thought. She'd been under stress before. She popped 2 Tylenol, swallowed them dry, kept working. At 12:50, the tightness became pain. Sharp, radiating down her left arm. Her jaw. She tried to stand and her legs wouldn't hold her. The floor rushed up to meet her, cold marble against her cheek. Her phone was on the desk, 3 feet away. It might as well have been a mile. This is how I die, she thought with strange clarity. Alone in my office. Nobody will find me until morning. Marcus sat in a plastic chair in Boston Children's Hospital, watching Emma sleep. The doctors said she was fine. A bad asthma attack, triggered by running around at after-school care without her inhaler nearby. They'd given her a breathing treatment. She'd be okay, but the hospital bill would be $600 minimum, even with his basic insurance. His phone buzzed. A text from Jimmy, another janitor who worked the late shift at Meditech. "Bro, somebody collapsed on 28. Security called 911, but there's an accident on 93. Ambulance is 15 minutes out minimum." Marcus stared at the message. Floor 28. Executive offices. His floor. He looked at Emma, peaceful now, her breathing steady. The nurse had said he could go home. 15 minutes was too long. If someone was in cardiac arrest, brain damage started in 4 minutes. Death in 10. He was out the door before he finished the thought. The Meditech building was 10 minutes away. Marcus made it in 7, running 2 red lights. The night security guard recognized him, started to say something about him being terminated, but Marcus was already at the stairwell. 28 floors. He took them 3 steps at a time, his lungs burning, his legs screaming. The emergency exit door on 28 was locked, but there was a fire extinguisher on the wall. He swung it once, hard, and the glass shattered. The executive floor was dark except for one office at the end. Corner office. Glass walls. Inside, Sophia Chen lay on the floor, her skin gray, her lips blue. Marcus dropped to his knees beside her, 2 fingers on her carotid artery. No pulse. He tilted his head to her chest. No breathing. 7 years fell away in an instant. 7 years of carrying a mop instead of a scalpel. 7 years of being invisible. Dr. Marcus Hayes had spent 15 years in medicine, 4 years of medical school, 5 years of residency, 6 years as an attending cardiac surgeon, 343 open-heart surgeries, and he would not let this woman die. "Call 911 again," he barked at the security guard who'd followed him up. "Tell them we have an unresponsive female, approximately 33 years old, in full cardiac arrest. No pulse, no respirations. 28th floor, northeast corner." His hands locked together over Sophia's sternum. 30 compressions, hard and fast. 120 beats per minute, the rhythm of staying alive. The song every CPR instructor used because the irony was too perfect. The guard ran back with the AED from the wall mount. Marcus ripped open Sophia's blouse, buttons scattering across the marble, and placed the pads. One on the upper right chest, one on the lower left ribs. Analyzing rhythm. Do not touch the patient. Marcus lifted his hands, waited, every second an eternity. Shock advised. Clear. Marcus pressed the button. Sophia's body jerked, a grotesque puppet convulsion. Continue CPR. His hands were back on her chest. 30 compressions, 2 breaths, 30 compressions, 2 breaths. The rhythm was automatic now, muscle memory from a life he wasn't supposed to have anymore. "Come on," he muttered. "Come on, you don't get to die. Not tonight. Not when I can do something about it." 4 minutes of CPR. Another shock. Another 2 minutes. Then Sophia gasped. Her back arched. Her eyes flew open, unfocused, and terrified. Marcus checked her pulse. Rapid but present. Sinus rhythm. She was back. "Ma'am, you're okay. You're safe. An ambulance is coming. Just keep breathing for me." Sophia tried to speak, managed only a croak. "Don't talk. Just breathe. You had a cardiac event. You're stable now, but you need a hospital." The security guard was staring at Marcus like he'd just watched someone walk on water. "You? How did you?" Marcus didn't answer. In the distance, sirens were finally growing closer. Sophia woke up in a hospital bed 2 days later. The doctors said she'd had an acute myocardial infarction, a heart attack, caused by a combination of genetic factors and stress. If someone hadn't performed immediate CPR, she would have died or suffered irreversible brain damage. "Who saved me?" Her voice was rough, her throat raw from the breathing tube they'd removed that morning. The nurse checked her chart. According to the incident report, a janitor, Marcus Hayes. The name meant nothing for 5 seconds. Then memory crashed in. The spilled water, the ruined contracts, her cold voice. "Just go." "The man I fired," Sophia whispered. "Apparently he broke through a locked door to reach you. The security footage shows him running up 28 flights of stairs." The nurse smiled. "You're very lucky." Lucky. Sophia turned the word over in her mind. She'd spent 17 years building luck, building success from nothing, turning poverty and loss into power and wealth. Luck was something she'd engineered. But this, being saved by someone she treated as less than human, that wasn't luck. That was grace she didn't deserve. Sophia hired a private investigator. It cost $5,000 and took 72 hours. The file arrived on her tablet while she was still in the hospital, and she read it 3 times, certain there had been a mistake. Marcus James Hayes, MD, born April 15, 1988. Education, Harvard Medical School. Graduated magna cum laude residency, cardiac surgery, Massachusetts General Hospital Board. Certified 2017. Career summary. Attending cardiac surgeon, MGH, 2017-2022. 343 cardiac surgeries performed, 97.2% success rate. 2 papers published in the New England Journal of Medicine. Nominated for the Ellis Island Medal of Honor, 2021. Status: medical license suspended, 2022. The next section made Sophia's hands go cold. Incident report, August 12, 2022. During an emergency valve replacement surgery, patient Rachel Marie Hayes, wife of Dr. Marcus Hayes, suffered unexpected complications. The attending surgeon of record, Dr. Richard Walsh, made the decision to continue the procedure despite indications of cardiac instability. Patient expired on the operating table. Internal investigation concluded Dr. Marcus Hayes, who was present but not operating, had failed to properly advocate for his patient. Medical board suspended his license pending review. Dr. Hayes did not contest the findings and voluntarily surrendered his license 6 months later. Additional notes: Dr. Hayes was unable to afford legal representation to appeal the board's decision. Dr. Richard Walsh continues to practice at MGH and now serves as senior medical advisor to Horizon Healthcare. Sophia read the last sentence 4 times. Richard Walsh, Horizon Healthcare. The company she was about to sign a $200 million deal with. Her blood ran cold. She read the sentence 3 more times, each word sharpening into focus like a knife edge. Richard Walsh, the man who destroyed Marcus's career to cover his own mistake. The man whose medical negligence had killed Rachel Hayes. That man was now the senior advisor to the company she was about to give $200 million. She picked up her phone, pulled up the Horizon contract on her tablet. There it was, buried in the appendix. Medical Advisory Board. Richard Walsh, MD, Chief Cardiac Consultant. How had she missed this? Because you were so focused on the deal, a voice whispered in her head. So focused on proving yourself that you didn't ask the right questions. Her mother's face flashed through her mind. Mom, dying in that county hospital because they'd prioritized profit over care. And now Sophia was about to write a check to a company that protected doctors like Walsh. She set down the tablet, feeling sick. This changed everything. Sophia stood outside a building in Dorchester that looked like it had given up sometime in the 90s. Paint peeling, cracked concrete steps, a door with 3 locks. She knocked, waited. The girl who answered was 7 years old with Marcus's dark eyes and a stuffed rabbit under one arm. Hello, Emma said politely. Are you selling something? No, Sophia's prepared speech evaporated. I'm someone your daddy helped. Is he home? Daddy, Emma turned and called into the apartment. There's a lady here. Marcus appeared in the narrow hallway, and Sophia watched recognition hit him like a physical blow. He stepped forward quickly, protective, putting himself between Emma and Sophia. Ms. Chen, what are you doing here? I came to, she swallowed, started again. To say thank you. The doctors told me you saved my life. I did what anyone would do. No, Sophia shook her head. You did what a doctor would do. What a brilliant doctor would do. Marcus's jaw tightened. I'm not a doctor anymore. I know what happened to your wife. I know about Dr. Walsh. I know you were blamed for his mistake. It doesn't matter now. It matters. Sophia's voice cracked despite her best efforts. You lost everything. Your career, your license, your wife, and you still ran up 28 flights of stairs to save the woman who fired you. Why? Marcus looked at her for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was quiet. Because I couldn't save Rachel. Because I stood in that operating room and watched Walsh make the wrong call, and I couldn't stop him. Because I lost my license for not fighting hard enough, And I lost my wife because I was too focused on protocol and hierarchy to trust my own judgment. He paused. And because Emma was safe in that hospital, because for once I could do something right. Emma tugged on Sophia's jacket. Daddy is a superhero. He saves people. Sophia knelt down eye to eye with the little girl. You're absolutely right. He is. When she stood, Marcus was watching her with something like wariness, like he knew she was about to make an offer he couldn't accept. What if I told you I could help you get your license back? You can't. The system. I have 12 lawyers on retainer, Dr. Hayes. I built a $500 million company by not accepting that systems can't change. She took a breath. And I owe you my life. Let me try. Marcus was quiet for so long that Sophia thought he'd refuse. Then Emma wrapped her arms around his leg and said, Please, Daddy, I want people to know you're special. Marcus looked down at his daughter, looked at Sophia. Why would you do this? Because 7 years ago, my mother died because we couldn't afford her surgery. I built Meditech to make sure that never happened to anyone else. But I forgot that medical justice isn't just about money. It's about protecting the people who actually care. Sophia's voice was steady now. You deserve your career back, and I deserve the chance to do something right. Emma pulled on Sophia's hand. Do you want to stay for dinner? Daddy makes really good spaghetti. Marcus and Sophia looked at each other over Emma's head. Understanding passed between them, tentative, fragile, but real, the first foundation of trust being laid. I'd like that, Sophia said. The war room at Meditech's law firm looked like something from a legal thriller. 12 lawyers, 4 paralegals, 17 filing boxes of documents. And in the center of it all, Marcus Hayes, looking uncomfortable in a borrowed suit. The medical board's case is weak, Jennifer Park, the lead attorney, was saying. They relied entirely on Dr. Walsh's testimony, but we have 3 nurses who were in that OR who say Walsh ignored Marcus's recommendations. We have surgical logs showing Marcus wasn't the surgeon of record. And we have, she paused for effect, 6 other cases where Walsh made similar errors and blamed junior doctors. Can we prove it? Sophia asked from her seat by the window. With time and money? Yes, but Ms. Chen, there's something you need to know. Jennifer slid a folder across the table. Dr. Walsh is currently the senior medical advisor to Horizon Healthcare. Sophia had known this was coming, had prepared for it, but the reality still hit like cold water. If we go after Walsh, Horizon will pull out of the deal. Almost certainly. And without Horizon, our IPO will be delayed, possibly indefinitely. The board won't be happy. Across the table, Marcus stood up. Stop, I'm not worth this. Ms. Chen, you've already done more than enough. I don't need... Yes, you do. Sophia's voice was firm. And so does every other doctor who's been scapegoated by someone with more power and better connections. We're moving forward. The meeting lasted 4 more hours. By the end, they had a strategy. File a formal complaint with the medical board requesting a review of Marcus's case. Simultaneously notify the Massachusetts Attorney General's office about potential systemic issues at MGH. Make noise. Make it public. Make it matter. The board meeting was exactly as bad as Sophia had expected. You're jeopardizing a $200 million deal for a janitor? Richard Donnelly's face was red on the video screen. For a doctor, Sophia corrected, who was wrongly accused by a man who now advises the company we're supposed to trust with our technology. That's not our problem. It is our problem. Sophia stood, facing down the gallery of faces on the screen. I built Meditech to fix a broken healthcare system. If I look the other way when I see corruption, when I see a good doctor destroyed to protect a powerful one, then I'm just another part of that system. The IPO will happen when it happens, but not with Horizon, not with blood money. She could see the board members looking at each other, having silent conversations in their muted private chats. Ms. Chen, Donnelly's voice was cold now. We need to take a vote. The video call went silent. Sophia could see them conferencing in their private chat channels. 12 faces, 12 calculations of risk and reward. Finally, Donnelly spoke again. The board is calling for an emergency vote, motion to request CEO resignation based on actions detrimental to shareholder value. A pause. All in favor? Sophia counted the hands. 9 out of 12. She'd lost. Ms. Chen, the board has voted to request your resignation, effective immediately. Sophia had known this too was possible, had prepared for it. But preparation didn't make it hurt less. I understand. I'll submit my formal resignation within the hour. She ended the call before anyone could respond. Marcus found her on the roof of the Meditech building that evening. Sophia was standing at the edge, looking out at the city she'd conquered and was now losing. You didn't have to do this, Marcus said quietly. Yes, I did. Your company will survive, or it won't. But I'll be able to look at myself in the mirror. She turned to face him. My mother died because the system failed her. I've spent 17 years trying to fix that system. But I was becoming part of the problem, treating people like resources, like numbers on a spreadsheet. You reminded me what actually matters. I didn't mean to. I know. That's why it mattered. Sophia smiled, tired but genuine. Emma asked me yesterday if superheroes get scared. I told her yes. I told her being brave means doing the right thing even when you're terrified. Is that what you're doing? I'm trying. They stood together in the fading light, two people who'd lost everything and were trying to figure out what came next. The medical board agreed to review your case, Sophia said. The hearing is in 3 weeks. And if they don't reinstate me, then we appeal and appeal again and again until they listen. Marcus shook his head, something like wonder in his expression. Why are you doing this? Because Emma deserves to know her father is a hero. Because you deserve to practice medicine. Because... Sophia stopped, surprised by the emotion rising in her throat. Because you gave me my life back, and I want to give you yours. 2 weeks felt like 2 years. Sophia officially resigned as CEO. The board appointed an interim replacement. Meditech stock dropped 34% in a single day. 3 major news outlets ran stories about the CEO who chose principle over profit. Half the articles praised her, half crucified her. Sophia stopped reading them. She spent her days with Marcus and Emma instead, helping Emma with homework, learning to make the spaghetti Emma loved, sitting in the small apartment in Dorchester that felt more like home than her penthouse ever had. Daddy says you're sad, Emma said one afternoon, looking up from her drawing. I'm okay, sweetheart. He says you lost your job because you helped us. That's not fair. Sophia knelt beside Emma's chair, looked at the drawing, a crayon family of 3 figures holding hands. Sometimes doing the right thing costs us something, but that doesn't mean we shouldn't do it. But you're sad. A little, Sophia admitted, but I'm also happy because I met you and your daddy. Emma considered this with the gravity only a 7-year-old could muster. Then she added a sun to her drawing, large and yellow and bright. There. Now it's better. The medical board hearing took place in a gray conference room that smelled like old coffee and institutional carpet. Marcus sat at one table with Sophia and their lawyers. Across from them, Dr. Richard Walsh in an expensive suit, flanked by hospital administrators. The board chair, an older woman with steel gray hair, reviewed the documents in silence for what felt like an hour. Finally, she spoke. Dr. Hayes, the board has reviewed the new evidence presented, including testimony from surgical staff present during the incident in question. We've also examined Dr. Walsh's record more closely. She paused. It is the determination of this board that the original suspension was issued in error. Your license is hereby reinstated, effective immediately. Marcus's hands gripped the table edge. Sophia reached over, squeezed his shoulder. Furthermore, the board chair continued, we are referring Dr. Walsh's conduct to the Attorney General's office for investigation into potential medical malpractice and falsification of records. Walsh was on his feet, sputtering protests. His lawyers were talking over each other, but the board chair's gavel came down with finality. This hearing is concluded. Outside on the courthouse steps, Marcus stood in the late afternoon sun. He'd walked into that building as a janitor. He was walking out as a doctor. Emma crashed into his legs, wrapping her arms around him. Sophia stood a few feet away, giving them their moment. Daddy, does this mean you can be a doctor again? Yes, Emma Bean, it does. Will you save people? I'll try. Emma looked at Sophia. Did Mommy Sophia help make this happen? Marcus's eyes met Sophia's over his daughter's head. In that moment, recognition transformed into something deeper. Gratitude becoming respect, becoming the architecture of love, being built one honest moment at a time. Yes, Marcus said softly, she did. The grand opening of the Rachel Hayes Medical Center took place on a bright October morning. The building was beautiful, all glass and light, designed to feel welcoming rather than institutional. The lobby featured a massive photograph. Rachel Hayes in her nursing scrubs, smiling at the camera with the kind of warmth that seemed to fill the whole room. Sophia stood on the podium, looking out at the crowd of 300 people, doctors, nurses, community members, families who'd already been helped by the foundation. My mother died when I was 16 because we couldn't afford her surgery, Sophia began. Her voice was steady. Practice from years of public speaking, but this was different. This was truth. I built Meditech to change that reality, to make healthcare accessible. But I almost forgot the most important part, that healthcare isn't about technology or profit margins. It's about people. People like Dr. Rachel Hayes, who devoted her life to caring for others. People like her husband, now Dr. Marcus Hayes, who never stopped believing that medicine should serve everyone, not just those who can pay. She paused, found Marcus in the front row with Emma on his lap. This medical center is funded by the Rachel Hayes Foundation, which will provide free and low-cost medical care to families in need. No one will be turned away. No one will watch someone they love die because of money. Her voice caught. My mother deserved better. Rachel Hayes deserved better. And we're going to make sure no other family has to face that choice. The applause was thunderous. After the speeches, after the ribbon cutting, after the tours and the photographs, Sophia found herself in the empty atrium with Marcus and Emma. Your mother would be proud, Sophia said quietly. Marcus was looking up at Rachel's photograph. She would have liked you. She always said the world needed more people willing to fight. I learned from the best. Sophia smiled at him. A janitor who broke through a locked door to save a stranger. You weren't a stranger. Not really. You were someone who needed help. He turned to face her fully. And you became someone who helps others. That's what Rachel always did. That's what this place will do. Emma tugged on Sophia's hand. Can I show you something? She led them to a quiet corner where a small plaque had been installed. Emma had clearly been involved in the design. There were crayon drawings laminated beside the formal dedication. The plaque read, "In memory of Rachel Hayes, who taught us that healing begins with compassion, and in honor of Dr. Marcus Hayes and Dr. Sophia Chen, who proved that doing the right thing is always worth the cost." I'm not a doctor, Sophia said. You have a PhD in biomedical engineering, Marcus pointed out, and you've saved more lives with this foundation than most doctors do in a career. We did this together. Yes, Marcus agreed. We did. Emma looked up at both of them with the clarity that children sometimes have about the world. Are you going to get married? Sophia laughed, surprised. Marcus turned red. Emma, what? Daddy says you're his best friend, and I drew you in our family picture. So I thought maybe. Marcus and Sophia looked at each other over Emma's head. In 6 months, they'd become partners in fighting injustice, in building something meaningful, in creating a life that mattered. Somewhere along the way, they'd also fallen in love, though neither had said it out loud. Maybe someday, Sophia said gently, if your daddy wants to. I want to, Marcus said immediately. Then realizing what he'd admitted, he smiled. I really want to. The sun was setting over Boston as they left the medical center. Meditech had completed its IPO 3 months earlier. Without Horizon Healthcare, with new partners who shared Sophia's vision, the company was now valued at $1.2 billion. Sophia owned 30% of it, and she donated half her shares to the Rachel Hayes Foundation. Forbes had called it the most expensive ethics decision in healthcare history. Sophia called it the best decision she'd ever made. They stopped at a small park near the medical center. Emma ran ahead to the playground, and Marcus and Sophia sat on a bench, watching her swing higher and higher, fearless and laughing. Do you regret it? Marcus asked. Giving up so much? I didn't give up anything, Sophia said. I traded a company I was losing myself in for a life that actually matters. I traded being lonely in a penthouse for being happy in a studio apartment that's way too small for 3 people. We could get a bigger place. We could. Sophia leaned against his shoulder. But I kind of like being close to you. Emma called out from the swings. Look how high I am. I'm flying. They watched her together, the 7-year-old girl who'd lost her mother but gained a family. This child who believed her father was a superhero because he was. You know what Emma told me last week? Marcus said. She said she's glad her mommy sent you to us, that sometimes angels work in offices. Sophia's eyes burned with tears she didn't bother to hide. Your wife did send me in a way. She saved me before I even knew I needed saving. How? She made you who you are. She taught you that love means sacrifice, that courage means doing the right thing even when it costs everything. Sophia turned to look at him. And you taught me the same thing. Marcus kissed her then, soft and sure, a promise of all the days ahead. When they pulled apart, Emma was standing in front of them, hands on her hips. Finally, I've been waiting forever for you to do that. They laughed and Emma climbed onto the bench between them, fitting perfectly in the space they made for her. Daddy? Emma said after a moment of comfortable silence. Yes, sweetheart. I think Mommy Rachel would be happy about Mommy Sophia, about all of this. Marcus wrapped his arms around both of them. I think so too, Emma Bean. I think so too. The Rachel Hayes Medical Center had expanded to 3 locations across Massachusetts. The foundation had helped over 2,000 families. Marcus stood in an operating room, training a new generation of cardiac surgeons. Not just the technical skills, but the ethical ones. How to advocate for patients, how to stand up to power, how to remember that every person on the table was someone's mother, father, child. Sophia had launched a second company, this one focused on medical education and ethics reform. Forbes called her the CEO who changed healthcare by walking away from it. And Emma? Emma was 9 now, healthy and thriving, with 2 parents who'd learned that the most important surgery wasn't performed with a scalpel. It was the careful, patient work of healing broken systems and building new families from the pieces of shattered dreams. She still drew pictures, but now they included a baby sister on the way, due in spring. People ask me if I regret walking away from a $200 million deal. I tell them I didn't walk away from anything. I walked towards something better. I walked toward a man who taught me that true power isn't about money or titles. It's about having the courage to do the right thing when no one's watching. I walk toward a little girl who reminds me every day that love is the most important work we can do. I walk toward a life that matters, toward late-night dinners in a tiny kitchen, toward helping Emma with homework, toward building something that will outlive all of us, a foundation that says every life has value, every person deserves care, every family deserves hope. They call me the CEO who chose justice over profit, but the truth is simpler. I was dying, not just that night on the office floor, but every day before it, dying of ambition and isolation and the belief that success meant sacrifice. Marcus Hayes didn't just save my life with CPR and an AED. He saved it by showing me what it means to live, to choose people over profit, compassion over convenience, love over everything else. And that, it turns out, is worth more than all the billions in the world. Because in the end, we're not measured by the empires we build or the money we make. We're measured by the lives we touch, the hands we hold, the families we create from courage and second chances. I almost died learning that lesson, but because of a janitor in a blue uniform who refused to let me go, I got to live it instead. A photograph of Marcus in surgical scrubs, Sophia in casual clothes, and Emma between them, all three smiling in front of the Rachel Hayes Medical Center. Marcus's hand rests on Sophia's pregnant belly. The sun sets behind them, painting everything gold.